The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Oh, look at that. We have breaking news. Dakota Joshua traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs, Jesse and Steve.
Breaking news.
Believe this?
Yeah.
Literally right after the episode went up, I think on Thursday, Dakota Joshua became a Leaf. Steve did a video, but we haven't had the chance to talk about it.
100,000 views.
Hey, that's good, man.
On that.
That's Simon Benoit level.
Dude, that and the Ryan Reeves video, both over 100,000. People are sickos. People are sick puppies for their trade news.
I think this is an interesting one, though, because
It is.
Here's a guy coming off a season that he was, he'd had cancer. He didn't get to train the way he wanted to. He wasn't the player that we all saw in the playoffs the previous year where he was a monster. Mm-hmm. $3.25 million. You take advantage of the Canucks and the fact that they had no cap space after getting Evander Kane for nothing.
And I mean, he was a luxury for them, right? At that cap hit, like it's not a debilitating cap hit, but it is when you're in that position.
Sure.
It's the position the Leafs are usually in, right? So it's nice to not be up against it for once, have a little flexibility. And I mean, it's almost a certainty that the Leafs are going to move guys off their roster now because they have 15 forwards, according to Puckpedia, if you include Nick Robertson, who's going to arbitration. Mm-hmm. They're doing something. So you look at it, they're spending their cap. They're still going to have cap space.
They still have it now.
They still have it now, and they're going to have more.
All right, so here's my question.
I don't know if they're doing something. Like, I like the idea of them going into training camp just like they did last year with a bunch of forwards fighting for the spots. And then once you figure out the training camp kind of situation, then you do something.
Do you put them
right?
on?
I don't know if they're doing something in July or if they're doing something in September.
Right. Yeah, no. So that is a very good point. I do like the idea of jump ball. And I mean, there's only 6 preseason games, but someone always gets friggin' hurt. Matthews got hurt in training camp. Like David Kampf isn't brutal. I don't love him at that cap hit, but as we discussed previously, it's also kind of okay now.
They have cap space currently. Like his
Yeah.
cap hit isn't something you need to move today
No.
because they have to figure out this lineup. If this was what they had come October 1st, it's still under the cap by a little bit with maneuvering. And once you know who's going to make your NHL roster, then you can move pieces around.
Do you
Yes.
want that
So
many
they
people
have a
fighting for a roster spot when you've got Easton Cowan potentially coming?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, what if he wins one?
Because you know how coaches are. No.
You don't
guys
give
know
them
how
a spot.
Yeah, I know you don't give them one.
Yeah.
But you know how coaches are. They're like, well, Ty goes to the veteran. And I'd rather have David Kumpf. And
At this point, I think the conclusion is just put him in the minors regardless.
I don't know if that is the conclusion.
Yeah?
I don't know if that's what they're thinking. I've seen nothing. That's what I would do. But I've seen nothing to say. Have you guys seen anything that makes you believe that the Leafs are like, yeah, Cowan's going to be an AHLer?
They haven't indicated either way.
Yeah.
It's July 21st. Like, we don't know.
I do like that it's going to be kind of quick.
It's the 22nd.
Oh, is it?
Idiots, moron.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Which is a very July 22nd thing to say.
Exactly.
I love this. This is lovely that I don't know what they're doing.
Well, and so
Right?
here's the question I have for Jesse, because we don't know what they're doing. I like Jesse's alternate reality because everybody seems to be convinced it's going one way. And with Brad, he's a little unpredictable. And so you're not sure. Now, we know...
It's going to be a little bit more like the Sam Lafferty thing when they traded him to the Canucks. I want to say it was like the day before the season.
But once you get Robertson under contract, I believe that's basically 5 lines of NHL players that they have.
More, right? Like you're not carrying 3 spare forwards. But,
I mean, they could, though.
yeah, but then now you're
wasting people's careers.
You're wasting people's careers.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a few of them, like Pizzetta's probably like, no, that's all right. Like, waste it, please.
Yeah.
Like,
signing me.
let me earn an NHL paycheck. That's cool. But like, you should have a defenseman back there. So that takes away a spot.
Henry Thrun.
Well, there you go. So that's easy. Mm-hmm. But now what do you do with 2? So 2 forwards are now not getting a job. So one of the guys who they currently have, plus Easton Cowan. Right? And now you're leaving no wiggle room for like Gruel, Boyd, and people are going to roll their eyes. But, you know, those guys signed a contract with the Leafs probably because it's good AHL money, but also there's a decent chance they'll play There are
They need
spots.
some tweeners.
Yes.
So, okay,
Yes.
then let me ask
Every
you this.
team does.
Jesse, do you foresee them losing or trading a guy like Yarncroke or Kampf? Because those are the two names that keep coming up the most. Do you foresee them trading them at training camp to a team that maybe has had an injury or something like that? Or do you is this like you lost them on waivers, oh well?
No. There's no way they lose those players for free because people want those players. Like we talked about how David Kampf's contract is reasonable for what he does. Somebody's going to need a David Kampf. Yarncroke is so useful. Like I'm under the belief that the Leafs should keep Calle Yarncroke because he's very useful in that he can play anywhere in the lineup. He can play both wings. Like I like Calle, and he makes $2.1 million. I don't know why we're desperate to get rid of this player, but somebody's going to fall by the wayside because you can't have a roster of 42 forwards and ice them all and have them sit in the press box at Scotiabank. So somebody's going to go, but they're going to make some moves to move these guys out once they know the guys they want to keep. It's just like you right now in end of July, you're just unsure about who it's going to be. And I think that's fine. Like there shouldn't be a rush to trade Calle Yarncroke or David Kampf on July 22nd. Like we can play this thing out for a little bit. Whatever move you're making for David Kampf will be there mid-August or early August or late August or mid-September, early October. The David Kampf market isn't going crazy
But Jesse,
right
we're
now.
off in August. So if they could get it done before that, that would be awesome.
You guys are off in August. If they make a trade, don't worry, I'll be there.
I'll be right there with you, Steve.
I'll do it. No, I want to get back to Dakota Joshua for a second because listen, he had a not good, very bad, no fun season.
$3.25 million, I believe, is what he makes.
3 years left.
Yeah.
As well. But as I pointed out in my amazing video that I know you watched twice, as a free agent, like if he hit the free agent market this summer, I'm not convinced he gets less.
Well, Tanner Jeannot got 5 years at 3.4.
Exactly. And okay, Tanner Jeannot is maybe a tougher nut. He's not a better offensive player.
Certainly can't score at the level we would think Dakota Joshua could at Florida.
Not anymore. Well, and the other thing, Joshua had 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points in 57 games. And people are getting tied up in that. The lion's share of the evidence of Dakota Joshua's career is he's better than that. Any year, this is literally true, any year where Dakota Joshua doesn't miss training camp because he has testicular cancer, he is better than this. So in the 30 games he played in his only full season with the Blues, he had 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. Over the course of a season, that's 22 points. And that was under Craig Berube and that was under Mike Van Ryn. So you have 2 guys on the coaching staff vouching for him. With the Canucks, then, he had 23 points in 79 games. Hey, would you look at that? That actually lines up with the pace that he scored at before. Then he had 18 goals, 14 assists, 32 points in 63 games, which is an even better pace. And in the playoffs, we keep dumping on Yarncroke and some of these depth guys. We dump on the stars. We dump on any Leaf for not performing in the playoffs. He had 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points in 13 games as a depth guy on the Canucks before getting testicular cancer and missing all of training camp. So I'm betting on Dakota Joshua, and so are the Leafs.
Jesse, what do you think? What did you think of the trade when it came down?
I love Dakota Joshua as a player. I fell in love with him initially in that
when the Leafs drafted him
24 season because I had him in fantasy. Fantasy is so clutch for learning about the bottom feeders around the league because you find guys who fill out different parts of your fantasy roster. Like I needed a guy for hits that season. I remember how it was going. And Dakota Joshua, just every night, every time he played, I'd be like, oh, I got 4 hits. Oh, I got 5 hits that night. Yep. So I was like, oh, I got to catch up more on Dakota Joshua. And you start falling in love with his play style. You see he's contributing in the playoffs and things come around for Vancouver. So I became a Dakota Joshua fan. Last year was such a tragic standpoint from his career perspective where cancer derails it for an entire season. So I don't know how much you can take away from a year where you have that much turmoil in your personal life.
Yeah.
So,
and you're on with respect, the Canucks,
who had a good season.
Biggest tire fire outside of New York where
Who had
they
a good
traded their tire fire too.
It was Kevin Lankinen, Quinn Hughes, and nobody had a good season.
Yeah, it was like the mess.
Even Quinn Hughes got hurt.
Yeah,
like
true.
I don't know that he
was
did.
hurt basically the entire season. Hughes was playing through stuff. So like, there's not much to take away from last season. I think there's a lot of skill there. I think he's going to be perfect for the bottom six of this team. I think he'll be good on the third or fourth line.
He didn't score on the Canucks. No one did. I didn't know this. Did you know that not a single Canuck hit 30 goals?
I didn't know that, no.
I had no idea. Jake DeBrusk led them with 28.
Wow.
Suter and Besser both had 25. Besser, who just got, what was it, 8.5 or 8.25 or 8. Did anyone... Quinn Hughes had 76 points. 2 forwards reached 50. Forwards in Besser and Garland. That's a nightmare. It's a total nightmare. So he didn't have the greatest season. Okay, well, you can point to several very valid reasons for why that happened. So I'm not worried.
Your season's not going to be made or broken based on how Dakota Joshua performs for this team. It's not like you're not hiring him to be your first line center or your number one defenseman. He's a bottom six player. He's a very useful bottom six player. And if he plays his role, he'll be good on the fourth line. Yeah. Like it's like blaming the playoff.
I think you're hoping for third. Third?
He's probably fourth. That's fine.
I think
Bobby McMahon makes $1.3 million if he's up on the third line. Like, that's cool. Like,
I kind of compare the two. Like, McMahon is probably, he is a better scorer. He's a faster player. Joshua's meaner, and he forechecks better, and that's something McMahon got better at as the playoffs went, but I was still like, there's something missing here. Like, I don't know if he's providing them exactly what they need, but Joshua's that weird kind of player where there's a lot of nights I could see him playing fourth. There's a lot of nights I could see him playing third. Mm-hmm. And in spot work, I could see him playing in the top six, honestly.
I think if he's in your top six, you're stretching a little.
Yeah. I think it's an 82-game season.
The reason I bring up the money and like McMahon making 1.3 on to play on the third or fourth line is because like we need to remove ourselves from these salary cap hits of these players as the salary cap's going up. Like Domi making 3.75 and you might be on the first line for a little bit.
It's
like
fine.
You don't need to associate the cap hit as much with these Toronto Maple Leafs because we're free from the Marner Tavares era where every penny counts and you can't have that much on the bottom there. And now it's just kind of this is the range of your bottom six players, the third or fourth line. I'm okay with that.
It's interesting seeing how they're operating this summer, and to me it just confirms that all those tweets being like, oh, well, they took Marner's money and they used it on this guy and this guy and this guy, and which is better? Marner. Like, clearly Marner. Obviously Marner.
Yeah, there's a lot of people taking... It was like Pizzetta, Joshua...
Pizzetta's so bad faith. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, people are like, do you think the Leafs are better? Because this group scored 63 points last year and Marner had 100. And it's like, I don't think that's exactly what they're doing.
No, you get to operate like a normal hockey team now. Like we've talked a lot over the years, and sort of as a throwaway, and like we should maybe revisit it and explain it a little bit more with Brandon Pridham. Like I think he's done such a good job as Leafs assistant GM and their capologist. But really, what he's doing is, the marching orders of the team. Sort of like Wes Clark, who's a guy who I think is pretty good at his job, even though the Leafs draft record under him was a little up, a little down. He identified the players that the team told him to identify.
Yep.
We want this type of player, that type of player, that type of player. And he left us with the parting gift of Matthew Nyes. Bless you forever for doing that. But the Leafs have, they manage their cap where, on opening day they have like $1 or $0 or whatever. And that way they can maximize LTIR. And they talked about, should we or shouldn't we operate in LTIR? And does that make sense? And every year they were sort of set up where if one thing goes wrong, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, opening day, this roster, if it stays this way for several months, we're going to be in good shape. That never works that way.
No.
Someone's hurt. Guys are obviously playing hurt because they can't even afford to make this trade or call this guy up. It's brutal, right? So now they're looking around the league and they're like, oh, we can get a player like Dakota Joshua for a 4th round pick. All right, let's do it. Mm-hmm. And, people are, I think, looking at the cap hits like it's last season. It's not last season for 2 very large reasons. Number one, the Marner and Tavares cap hits are completely different. One of them's completely gone. And the cap went up.
Yep.
You're all right. You're all right.
You're talking about taking what essentially would have amounted to, because Marner was at 11 and John was at 11.
Yeah, John literally 11, Marner
almost 11,
junior number, whatever.
So you're taking $22 million and you're taking it down to 4.39 or whatever, for that. And
yes.
and so I just, this is a cursory look, and this isn't exactly a fair comparison, but if you compare what the Leafs had, it's not about the top 3 or 4 guys. Because they seem to be right on par with everybody else in that.
It's about the damn team.
It's about the whole team. So, like, for instance, I'm just going to give you a glance here. 10 Winnipeg Jets scored over 30 points last year.
Right.
Actually 11 because of Ehlers, okay?
Right.
And he's not listed on their roster anymore. The Leafs only had 8 of them, and Scott Laughton is one of them, so he doesn't count. So it's actually... but it's with Marner in there expected. Yeah.
No.
So
Laughton scores no points, even though so much evidence from throughout his career is that he does actually score.
Yeah.
I choose to shit my pants and say no.
The Florida Panthers didn't even have the best regular season. They had 12 guys that scored over 30 points. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I just think with Leaf fans, we got really, I think we got to acknowledge the conditioning we've had. We need the best guys to be the best guys, and everybody else, you chip in once in a while. Depth scoring, like beyond Bobby McMahon, once you get past that top 6, outside of Bobby and Nick Robertson with 14 goals, there was nothing.
Robertson barely even counts. Like, he's not an everyday player.
And he doesn't play in the playoffs most of the time.
Right? Like, he wasn't an everyday player, so I don't even really count him, because if he's not on your team when it matters the most, then what are we doing here? So, okay, yeah, you had 7 guys. Really, you had 6, right? And I talked about this. I don't remember which video it was. I think it was in my roster breakdown video, and then the Leafs made 2 trades immediately. Jerks. The Leafs last year had 7 guys get 10 or more goals, and Robertson was one of them. So you could argue it's 6. The Berube Blues that won the Cup in 2019 had 13. 13 guys.
Panthers had 11 last season.
You need production from throughout the lineup.
And I'm just looking at the Winnipeg Jets. They had 10 guys that did it. Actually, 11 because of our good friend Nikolai Ehlers.
This is part of the reason why maybe we took Marner for granted and take some of the other guys from the core 4 for granted, because they score 100 points, and we're like, yeah, you have to, or we're boned.
Yeah.
That's what the money's for. Like, well, you're not replacing. Of course they're not bloody replacing them. The composition of the team was stupid. What are we getting there? The composition of the team was dumb. With the salary cap, it's dumb to build it that way. You're on a hope and a prayer. So you're hoping some league minimum guy comes in and shoots the lights out.
Michael Bunting.
And like, you were never really able to get more than one of those guys in a season, and you just need one. So you get Bobby McMahon, you get Bunting. It's just not enough. Well, and you need guys on ELCs. Well, they never had any of those. Nice. That was basically it. Okay. They never got lucky enough. The luck was baked into the cake, and that's just not a way to run a bakery.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving on from the Marner aspect of it, I wondered too, because they talked about DNA change at the press conference. Brad Treliving, Jesse, you were there. That was one of his major takeaways. It's like, he's got a major quote in every press conference. I almost feel like I can remember them all. Remember, he was like, "I want the team with more snot." That was one that...
Brad Treliving does a great job of saying very little. He'll have like a couple talking points that'll get filtered through every question.
So with Joshua, with Wah, there seems... The DNA change, everybody just assumes it's, Mitch Marner leaving. But the way that those guys play should be brought into this as well. Because one of the issues with the Leafs always in the playoffs, people are like, well, if they could just score more goals. Well, how do you do that?
You bang and crash and you go to the net.
Right. And what does Dakota Joshua do? What does Nicholas Waugh do?
They go to the net.
That's the DNA change I'm seeing here. That's the it's just creating opportunities.
The Yarncrow conversation, like, I think he is a useful player. I think he's useless for Craig Berube. Like he can forecheck. He can regular season forecheck.
He can't play off forecheck, you're saying?
Well, I thought he did a fine job against the Sens, and then the Panthers show up and what are you even doing here? Right? So if he starts the season, fine, but like, to me, the DNA change is obviously the coach and GM are aligned. So if a few years down the line you end up firing Berube just because that's how it works with coaches, you still have a team where you're like, this resembles a team that has playoff success, right? They don't all have to be like, they didn't get anyone as tough as Ryan Reeves. They didn't get anyone as close, but they'll all go. Even Henry Thrun will go. Dakota Joshua will go. Nick Waugh will go. Pizzetta is insane. He's actually a crazy person. The only two guaranteed fights I can see this season is if
Olivier's healthy.
Well, I was going to say Reeves and Pizzetta are both in the lineup when the Leafs play the Sharks.
Probably will be.
I think Reeves will beg for it, and the Sharks will oblige him. And I'm not sure Pizzetta's going to have to beg Berube.
Right.
I think he'll just do it.
So, but I guess I look at this and think, okay, I agree with Jesse. I've been a Calle Yarncroke booster, but I also see your point about like, well, you know, what is he going to play? My question is, as the roster stands right now, guys, who's killing penalties? If Yarncroke goes,
that's important, yeah.
Who's killing them? Because he is a good penalty killer. There's no doubt about that. You got Steven Lorentz. You got Scott Lawton. I'm hoping
Camp if he's in the lineup.
I'm hoping they don't need to use Matthews on the penalty kill as much. Like, it feels like you could, and they did many times.
I thought he was pretty good at it.
Yeah, but how many minutes do you want him playing PK, or how many minutes do you want him, focused on the offensive side?
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point.
I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying, do you need him doing that every game?
It's a valid point.
Right? And so I'm looking at I don't think Nyes is going to do it. I don't think Nylander's going to do it. I don't think
Nyes kills penalties.
What about Michelli?
That I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like,
this is where I'm like,
Joshua, I assume.
You know what? Jesse might have a point because David Kampf kills penalties. Calle Yarncroke kills penalties.
People seem to forget that Calle Yarncroke didn't play most of last season.
Yes.
He had sports hernia surgery in November.
And a groin thing too, right?
Yeah, that was the groin hernia thing.
It was both.
It was that. Yeah, it was all in one. And he struggled through training camp because he was injured. And then they're eventually like, go get the fucking surgery. And they played 19 games all of last season. And then people are like, oh, why did Calle Yarncroke suck? Because he had an injury and didn't have a full season.
So similar to Dakota Joshua, like, the vast majority of the evidence is he's better than what we saw last season. My thing with him is I'm just like, I don't know if stylistically he matches, but again, it's I argued this for Wayne Simmons a few years ago. People were like, get him off the team. I'm like, man, there's 82 games. That's a shitload.
You need guys.
Yeah, he didn't play very much. I think he played like 19, 20, whatever. But yeah, you need guys.
Yarncroke?
No, that would be Wayne Simmons.
Wayne Simmons?
Simmons. Sorry,
okay.
Yeah. Like, Thrun is going to play. I think whether guys are hurt or not. Pizzetta is going to play whether guys are hurt or not. I think you'll see games out of guys you've probably, I don't know, how many of you remember Travis Boyd on the Leafs? Like,
I do.
How many, you're going to see Hildeby. Like, it's just, that's the way the league works.
Yeah, the Leafs were actually really lucky with injury luck last season. Most of their top guys outside of Matthews and some of like the Yarncrokes of the world, like, they were pretty healthy all of last season. Like, you go through that points log and you see all the games that they played, like, everybody was kind of in there except for Matthews for a little bit.
I wonder if Morgan Riley was injured too. He just had such an off season.
I think
he just played through it.
He wasn't comfy in Berube's system. Like,
is that what it was?
It took him so long to get adjusted to playing a type of hockey that's not the way he was playing previously. Like, I think another training camp hopefully will get him more comfy under Berube, but that's a wait and see for me because I think there's a real struggle there with the coach and the player.
That's That's fair.
Another thing on how it relates to the Leafs that happened over the weekend is Lucas Dostál was able to go online and he announced his own signing, $32.5 million, $6.5 million per year, which I think for a 25-year-old goaltender who we pretty much are convinced is going to be one of the top goalies in the league here.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty great.
He's the Ducks are paying their goalies like $13 million.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And John Gibson isn't one of them, which is wild.
Isn't that nuts?
That's nuts.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this and what it means for Anaheim. I think it's obvious. They locked up their star goaltender, who's their best player.
Yeah.
Right? Great. Awesome. The conversations have already, I've seen a few of them circle out there about what Anthony Stolarz' compensation might be on his extension. And, people were throwing out big numbers. And I look at this and I understand Dostál is an RFA. I understand he's 5 years younger, maybe even 6. I think Anthony Stolarz is 30 or 31.
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
But I look at that and I go, well, that seems favorable to the Toronto Maple Leafs in extending him. Because maybe you need to pay him that. But Lucas Dostál is Lucas Dostál, right? He's played more than 35 games in a season.
Well, there's about as much evidence that Dostál is as good as he is as there is for Stolarz.
Right.
Right? And all respect to Stolarz, who I would trust with, my firstborn. Like, he's so good. Mm-hmm. He's so damn good. But, like you said, for some reason, Woll is the only one who has the reputation of being made of glass.
Right.
Yes. And I'm not even talking about the playoff thing, which is just straight up head trauma. But this guy, unfortunately, misses a lot of time. And he's had recurring injuries throughout his career.
He started his most games ever last year, 33.
33. God, I would love to get him locked up, though. That'd be awesome. Him and Woll. I'd like to see, speaking of guys who didn't have the greatest start to their season, Woll started the damn thing hurt. I would like Woll to have more of the net. Last year was a little wonky because it was like Stolarz had to be the starter. Then Woll had to be the starter.
Because Stolarz went down. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see it be a little bit more of a tandem and they can sort of save each other. They have 15 back-to-backs. That's a lot of games where you're going to need those guys to switcheroo. But locking up Stolarz, I don't think should be that difficult.
Do you think, guys, and I asked this question to both of you, do you think it will come in and around what Lucas Dostál is, or can the Leafs ask a guy, in his UFA years to be like, no, you're not quite at that level, and that guy's a 25-year-old. Like, can we?
It should definitely come in less.
Yeah,
I just wondered if the UFA thing skewed it or not, and the exploding cap.
Like, there's just not a track record there of a starting goaltender. He was never been a starter in his career up until last year, and last year you wouldn't even say he's the starter because he missed so much time.
Goalies always get screwed, right?
Yeah.
Goalies always get screwed. Like, they have no trade value for some reason, and you need to be the elite of the elite to get those crazy contracts. Like, how many double-digit goalies have there ever been? 2? Mm-hmm. Right? The Price and Bobrovsky. That's it. Well, and with Price, I was going to say, and for most of it, that didn't work out.
He hasn't played.
He did get you the one berth in the Cup final, but yeah, he didn't bloody play. Bobrovsky, for the first couple seasons, we were looking at that like, oh shit, that's a mess of a deal. Mm-hmm. And his body got better, and obviously the team got better in front of him. Vasilevsky makes less than 10 somehow, right?
And Igor.
Igor
has the highest contract ever.
I forgot about Igor.
$11.5 million.
But earned.
All right.
I would have no issue giving him that. Shesterkin.
Stolarz?
No, not Stolarz.
Yeah. I there's no way it should come anywhere close to $6 million unless this season he goes out and wins the Vezina. I just think like he was the backup goaltender for Anaheim, which is funny because of this conversation.
Yes.
And then he's the backup goaltender in Florida, and then first time ever starter in Toronto, gets injured. Joseph Woll has to take over for a little bit, and then now he needs a contract. So there's got to be a middle ground for team and player.
Yeah. I wonder how close to, I don't think it gets it done, but I wonder how close to getting it done Joseph Woll's literal contract comes.
Well, if we're thinking it should come under Dostál's number, and significantly so.
Wool is
then
3 years, 3.66.
So maybe he's a 4 with a 4 in front of it, 4.5 or
something.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Dostál is a game-eating, Vezina contending goalie.
26.
20, yes. Yeah.
The one thing,
Stolarz, he's fascinating, right? Because he's clearly unreal, and you do not have faith in him to play half a season on account of he's never done it.
yeah, 34 total games last year, 33 started. Now, when it comes to that deal, is that something that you guys, do you wait on that to see how he does this year? Or do you take the risk and do what you did with Joseph Woll and said, yeah, I know this is an often injured goalie, which Woll was.
Yeah.
But sign him to the extension anyway. Get it done this summer. Don't think about it.
I kind of see incentive for both parties to get it done, to be honest. Like, if you're Stolarz, you could use the security because there's no guarantee this goes well. You might get injured again, and what happens if Woll is really good, which is not out of the question, right? You're not going to play a ton. And with the Leafs, I mean, with the cap, everyone's number is going up. So if he's unreal for you, you're happy about that because you're probably winning most of those games. But, I wonder about a team like Edmonton, who Stolarz did used to play there. And there's probably some people within the organization I would love to know the guy in the Oilers organization who's like, I always knew. I always knew. Yeah.
There would be one. Jesse, what would you do? Would you wait or would you go, you know what, let's get it done?
I would sign Anthony Stolarz tomorrow if his agent was willing to talk about it and discuss and do a deal in that $4.5 million area. I think it's smart business to get this done early because there's a situation where as a first-time full-time starter, if that's the way they go, he's the 1A and Woll's maybe 2 or 1B. He could have a great season and command too much money. I would lock him up right now because I think he's a good goaltender. If you think somebody's good and has that potential, just do it now.
Why would you sign him tomorrow and not today? What's your hesitation?
Today we're busy with the podcast and everything, so I gotta take.
They're so signing him tonight. No.
Well, hey,
So-
as long as it's not Thursday night.
Yeah, you're right.
No, Joseph. Anthony Stolarz extension coming at 5:01 on Thursday.
Oh,
when it's going to get signed. Brad Living is listening right now and going to fuck us as much as he can.
Or it could be next Thursday, which is technically supposed to be our last of the.
Yeah, that'd be annoying too. Yeah.
And the Robertson extension.
No, I think you got to get this done.
Matthews trade.
This is where you get the discount on the deal. You're
Right.
giving him the years of security. He's unproven because he hasn't been a starter full time. Go give him the money and make the bet that he's going to be good. Because do you guys not believe he's going to be
I think
really
he's gonna be
good?
good. I think he's just got to stay healthy.
I think he's going to be great.
I think he's going to be great, but I think people are also forgetting how we spoke about Stolarz last year.
Mm-hmm.
When they got him, it's like, okay, he led the league in save percentage. Okay.
Yeah. That's not how I talked about
this
it.
guy
I was an Anthony Stolarz truther from the get.
He was,
Sir.
he got it as
From the
backup,
get.
and he played behind Florida. He played behind Bob. He's friggin' unreal.
Still put up the numbers. Here's the thing I hope that first off, if they're able to get what Jesse mentioned as a number, like a 4.5, that means you get both guys for
It'd be a
roughly what you
over it.
pay Jeremy Swayman. Just a little less.
Damn.
Now, Jeremy Swayman might play more games than both of those guys combined
Yes.
because of their injury history. So there is a bit of a trade-off there. I think that's great value. Again, both guys have got to get over the 40-game mark, or at least close 35-game mark. I think we got to push here. One's got to get to 50. One's got to get to 30.
If they both got over 40, then it's a perfect season.
Yes. Yeah. I expect
You
some
can't-
sort of strain in there.
You can't really
It's
get,
just
can't
Dennis
really
Hill
get
if he's
closer than
coming.
that.
It's for the Leafs to only use 2 goalies in a season is almost impossible.
Yeah. But you don't have Matt Murray anymore.
But that's also
Right.
it's just not a reasonable expectation.
Yeah.
I think out of an NHL team.
It's not, but it's the reason it's extra impossible is you have 15 back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Right? So one goalie gets injured, even if they're out 2 weeks, you're going to have to use your third guy. And right now that's probably Hildeby.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, like the injury luck the Leafs had last season with these injuries that they had where Stolarz is out, they were so good during those periods of time when guys had to miss time because people will miss time, but it's a matter of like when it happens and did you win without those guys? And because they have Joseph Woll, it was fine. Yep. Like it was good. Like they got through it, and then the most important parts of the season, like Stolarz is back, and then Sam Bennett's like, "Hey, I got an elbow."
But they're friends.
But they're good friends, and that's besides the point. You know?
That's unlucky.
Yeah. I wonder.
Unlucky.
I wonder how much last year. Brad Treliving basically said at the press conference at the end of the season that Ilya Samsonov is expired, and we will not be offering him a deal. He basically said it without saying it.
He's still a free agent, isn't he?
I don't know. But my what I was going to go with that is that he said also at that press conference something is wrong with Joseph Woll. We got to figure out why he keeps getting injured. You could tell the frustration.
Then he started the season injured.
But he stayed healthy, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I think they missed the most with Anthony Stolarz not there this season was the puck handling. The Panthers crushed them without Anthony Stolarz puck handling, and Tanev has to absorb like 10 more hits a game because of that. You got to think Joseph Woll's working on that.
By far, the most hits in the entire NHL through 2 rounds. Yeah,
this is what I'm saying. I feel like for Joseph Woll to take the next step, he's got to. It's a weird thing to say, but he's got to get better at that sort of clearing, puck handling sort of stuff. And I want to see him take some risks in the regular season to get it nailed down for the playoffs.
I am the inventor of if you're a goaltender, you goal. My beer league goalie has it on the back of his jersey.
Oh, actually?
So I can yell it at him. But it's usually Steve. Don't give away the puck, you friggin' idiot. But yeah, he has to get better at it.
So are you okay with him giving you a few dangits, if you're a goaltender, 10 the
goals?
What
if he just stays in the net?
In service of getting better at that skill.
What if he tends the goal?
Listen.
It was a real
I'm going
fact.
against the brand right now, but it's a skill that helps. It is a skill that helps.
It would have helped a lot, I think, against the Panthers. A small thing.
It's a small thing.
Don't let Adam convince you. Like the correct answer is the thing you yell.
Well, okay, I would say this: if you're not
fucking
comfortable,
goal, Joseph Woll.
If you're not comfortable with it, stay in your friggin' net.
Yeah.
Nothing's worse than a goalie who thinks they're good at handling.
Who's the king of the Dangets? That one.
Jake
goalie?
Markstrom.
Jake Markstrom.
He's the king, the prince, the jack, the 10, the 8, and the 9, and
every week there's a Danget of Markstrom handling the puck.
Worst puck handling goalie.
Are you excited to have Joseph Woll doing that now?
No.
Exactly.
No. If you're not sure, stay in your friggin' net.
The Leafs have last
made a
year,
trade.
Matt Murray was their best goalie in the AHL with a .934 save percentage in 21 games. Dennis Hildeby at a .908 and 30. Artur Aktimov, who we might see this year, .901 in 26 games. He is Hildeby I think is a 4th or a 5th round pick. Aktimov is a 4th rounder from the 2020 draft.
Yes.
So we may yet see some NHL games from somebody in that 2020 draft. But he's looking like he's going to be very, very good.
Tale of 2 seasons. He started like 9-0 and wasn't able to maintain that, believe it or not.
And then there's Vyacheslav Peska, who played 2 games, 8.78 save percentage. He's probably a little lower on the depth chart. You're hoping that he turns into something maybe.
And they have one more guy in the K, Obvintsev.
Yeah, but he's not going to be available this year.
No, I was just going through the Adam. I'm just basically.
You're just throwing out knowledge now.
Yeah.
Just here's my knowledge.
July. You want to know who else they got, or
I just that will be very interesting because as one of you said, I can't remember which of you.
Was it Smart?
The idea that they're going to only play two goalies is crazy.
Oh,
so it's going to have to be Dennis Hildeby, I think.
Unless they get a vet, which it doesn't really look like they're going to do. So. I mean, Hildeby was an AHL All-Star. That's not a thing.
You don't like that?
It just, like, in terms of NHL success, does not matter.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I don't know if it's going to have any significance, but I think it's worth a note. Woll and Stolarz have the same agent. Alain Waugh. There's a big corporation, but like they have 86 contracts, but he's the president of the whole thing. So I don't know if there's some familiarity with the negotiations with Toronto and getting that deal done, or if there's like some crossing the lines of like, hey, you got this deal done here and it's the same agent. So there might be something to it with the contract there.
Is he one of those agents who like just does goalies?
No. It's RSG. They have a bunch of contracts.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. There are a few agents who specialize in goalies. I want to say
Positions,
Reimer's guy has like 6.
So, like, I don't know. Maybe it makes the negotiations easier because they're already comfy with Toronto and they got one done with Woll and it was super easy and it was ahead of time. So maybe Stolarz can be in the same boat.
And it's funny, we've heard literally next to nothing in terms of rumors about it. I just know that people are already speculating on the amount of money. So
forget?
What's your guess? What's your guess? To wrap up the conversation, what's your contract guess if it's signed this summer? Steve's doing a video, Jesse. Steve, you're doing a video. What are the terms of the contract?
4 times 4.
4 times 4. Woo. All right. Jesse.
4.8 times 3.
4.8 times 3. I was going to go 4 times 4.5.
I got the cap hit down by going 4.
Mm-hmm. You did. That was you negotiated.
I negotiated with him.
Yeah.
I negotiated.
All right. For Team Canada, Cassidy, Tocchet, and DeBoer all announced to Team Canada's coaching staff. We're hoping Pete DeBoer does not handle the goaltending.
DeBoer is fascinating.
DeBoer is fascinating because here's the thing. The guy is pretty successful as a coach, and he doesn't have a job, so he can focus on this full time. Yeah.
Okay, so we know Canada's going to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's great. Beyond that, keep him off the bench.
Maybe, just sit him in the stands for the medal round.
Cassidy does not that doesn't shock me at all. Like, that guy he deserves it. I think he's Tocchet's an interesting one because he was the difficult player whisperer in Pittsburgh. Then he was the difficult player for whisperer a bit in Vancouver until Pettersson and Miller finally almost killed each other. And now he's going to go to Philadelphia. Rick Tocchet's career is fascinating. When he got hired in Vancouver, I was like, yeah, his record with Phoenix is terrible. And he coached Phoenix. It was Phoenix.
When it was Phoenix. And they were like purple kind of.
Yeah, that was a weird era.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you guys have any takes on this. Cassidy makes the most sense here. I'm like, yeah, that's a shoo-in, of course. It's like, oh, are you going to put John Cooper on the staff? No way, that's crazy.
I know Canada puts some value on keeping it loose. Mm-hmm. And at a tournament like this, I think you kind of have to. It's forever. It's so long. This isn't the Four Nation face-off. You're way away from home unless you have a summer home in Italy. And it's like you're going to be there like 3 weeks.
Yeah. The Olympics are long, eh? Like, they're the whole
long. The Leafs have one home game in February.
Yeah. It's probably the one game they're playing in February.
It is February 28th.
Oh, wow.
No, they play 2 at the beginning of the month, then the Olympics, then
So you have like 3 total games in February?
they have like none.
They had 3 last year. It'll be back-to-back seasons. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
there you go.
Because remember the Four Nations, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. They have there's a home game in January, and then their next home game is a month and a day later.
Wow, so it's going to be all Raptors and concerts at that venue for a bit.
Yeah, it is. They're going to jam those full. So if Tocchet is able to keep it loose, be a motivator, that is kind of a bit of the role of the AGM. It's not all just power play and penalty kill, right? If he can do that, then he's the man for the job.
Jesse, any thoughts? DeBoer, does that stick out to you at all? Are you worried about that?
No, I think it's fine. John Cooper will have them all in line.
It is interesting though. So Tocchet, that probably bodes well for Sanheim because that'll be his guy in Philly. It probably bodes well for Konechny. With Cassidy, that obviously bodes well for Theodore and Stone, who I don't think had to worry about anything anyway. Marner is going to be his guy. DeBoer is interesting. Oh, Thomas Harley. He would have coached in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And who is he going to coach this season? Oh, no one. Like, that's the weird one. Like, how often has a vacant coach or a free agent coach been on the Canadian Olympic team?
And yet hard to deny that he deserves to be there. I mean, how many conference finals do you need to go to before you get a spot here?
It's tricky. Yeah, but how many coaches get fired after losing in the conference final? Like, there's obviously something wrong there. That's a fascinating one. But all those guys have also coached very important Team USA players. Mm-hmm. Cassidy with Eichel, Tocchet with Quinn Hughes, and possibly Brock Besser. And DeBoer with, who am I forgetting?
Jason Robertson.
Oh, there you go.
I'm assuming.
Ottinger.
Ottinger. Oh yeah.
Ottinger's gonna.
Canada USA is gonna be.
I
great.
play Canada.
My favorite thing about the Pete DeBoer naming as an assistant coach is that Jim Nail's still like the boss of Team Canada. He's like,
So he hired him.
he's amongst one of the general managers.
How
that's
long ago do you think
fascinating.
that decision was made? Like, I know they just announced it, but do you feel like they made that decision before Jim Nill had to fire Pete DeBoer?
No, I think they made it after.
You think it after?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This sounds like a recent thing. Like, it sounds like they could have changed it if they wanted to, but it's Doug Armstrong in charge, right? And then Kyle Dubas is a part of that upper management team, and Jim Nill's there as well, and Don Sweeney and Julian Breezewall. Like, they just loaded it up with everybody they could, and I think it makes sense to bring in Pete DeBoer. They trust him clearly,
Yeah.
and it's situational with Dallas, like everything that's gone on. It's not on his ability to coach a team or be an assistant coach on the team, right? That's a specific thing. They trust his abilities.
And he hasn't yet alienated at the NHL level
What?
any of the goalies they have.
Exactly. Right. Unless he publicly flames like Sam Montembeault, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. And like I said, the main man in charge, the lawyer from wherever on Canada,
Yeah.
John Cooper,
is John
will have everybody in line. So
Where is he from?
Prince George.
Is
I
he
believe.
actually?
Yeah.
You're right.
Home of the Cougars.
Prince George, BC.
There you go.
Yeah,
George,
the
John
Prince
Cooper.
George lawyer, John Cooper, is going to side talk everybody.
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious, like, having the international media there, and they'll be like introduced to John Cooper giving soliloquies. It's like he's like quoting Shakespeare, and they're like, "Wait a second,
Dude,
what?"
He's like, you know those tea bags that have like little quotes of
Little sayings on
affirmation?
them? Yeah, those pop bottles
If
that-
they became sentient and got a haircut and won the cup a couple times.
I like that.
That's John Cooper.
The one thing that shocks me amongst all of these names, Paul Maurice.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
interesting.
amongst the coaching staff, the player development staff, nothing to do with Team Canada. Nobody wanted to talk to old Paul Maurice.
I don't think Paul Maurice would excel under double IHF rules.
yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, Canada would spend the entire game on the penalty kill.
Do you think there's any chance Paul Maurice was offered it and turned it down?
I think there's a chance.
Wow.
Feels like that
You'd
would be
think-
the thing, right?
You'd think that would get out there.
Well, I mean, it is
don't know.
July 22nd.
I don't know if anybody's
of cottage
working
picks.
to report that.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's
We
make
just
up
did like
rumors.
20 minutes on Dakota Joshua. Get out of my
We
face.
can make up rumors.
Yeah. I mean, how do you think that call went? Hey, I'm Jim Nill.
Wait,
Or no,
here-
hey, I'm Doug Armstrong.
Here,
It's Doug. Who
do you
called.
want to do a clip right now?
Sure, do it. Sure.
Where does Paul Maurice get the balls saying no to Canada?
Oh, no.
Wow, is that what's been reported?
Yeah, it is from the internet.
Do you think that it's because he lives in Florida now and therefore wants us to be the 51st state?
Oh, I hope not.
That took a turn.
Great.
It could be that John Cooper is like, that's my mortal enemy. I don't want him on my coaching staff.
That's
Right.
fair.
You know?
Is it like, Michael Jordan and...
No.
Here, wait. Sidney Sweeney, Benson Boone, Timothy Chalamet. Got to get the SEO in there.
Yeah. You mean, were you looking for the name Scottie Pippen?
Not Scottie Pippen.
What?
No.
What do you-
Jordan and who was the guy in Detroit that he hated? That it was he was the then president of the Raptors, and his name escapes me. He kept him off Team USA.
Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah Thomas. Is that John? Is Isaiah Thomas Paul Maurice
Oh,
here?
yeah, where they kept him off of Team USA because Michael Jordan hated him.
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
Maurice met the criteria.
Yeah.
He met the criteria. Is that something he says?
He met the criteria. That's
You don't
what
remember the
Isaiah
meme?
Thomas says.
You don't remember the meme from fucking
Yes.
No, I don't remember that
Dog?
one.
Oh my god.
Adam.
No, I don't remember
Oh,
that.
that was a struggle of a
Yeah,
conversation.
it was.
I think it is interesting that the reigning two-time Stanley Cup champion wasn't a part of this team.
He has half the team. He coaches Sam Reinhart, Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett.
You guys don't think you're not? Does it smell a little fishy?
It's interesting.
It is odd.
A little odd?
And back-to-back cup champ. Why is John Cooper still the head coach of this team?
He's still top tier, right?
Because of what he did with the Lightning. Which was what? What Paul Maurice just did.
Right. The guy who
I think you don't fire the guy until he loses, though, right? I mean, he won.
Oh,
He's basically
no,
won
yeah.
every
Oh,
tournament.
I'm not saying fire him.
I think he should be a part of the coaching staff.
Okay.
Maybe he's like, I'm Paul Maurice. I'm not going to be an assistant. Fuck you.
Imagine Paul Maurice is from like Minnesota.
That'd be very.
Can you imagine?
I'm
Where
pretty
is
sure
he
he's
from?
not.
Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, so
Yeah.
he's going to coach the Penguins.
Can you imagine Paul Maurice
like we've talked about
and
this.
John Cooper having the conversation? Can you imagine the heat in that room?
Do you think Paul Maurice
Just the hot
refused
air.
to shake his hand?
It's not about
It's not. We didn't play. I don't get this.
It would just be those guys eating nothing but like bean burritos and like what are other foods that like gives you gas?
Raisins.
Raisins and prune juice, and they'd be wearing. It'd be a vacuum sealed room with, and they'd be wearing breathe right strips, just sniffing their
the South
own
Park?
and each other's. Thanks.
You joke about him turning it down, but I can see a situation where Paul Maurice is like, I've been coaching so much because we've gone to back-to-back cup finals.
would be a lot.
I would like some time off come
Yes.
February.
Well,
I can see that, but like, it's also the Olympics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
Sleep when you're dead, man.
yeah. My assumption is he didn't turn it down because he wasn't offered it, which is kind of more strange.
I think that there's tea there.
That's less
Like, there's
explainable.
tea.
You could see why he would turn it down.
Yeah.
I can't see why they wouldn't want him.
Right.
And the 51st state Benson Boone Elon Musk Cybertruck astronomer
Coldplay. Yeah.
CEO. Can you believe?
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert.
Colbert.
Katy Perry,
Colbert.
Colbert, Jimmy
You're getting
Kimmel,
it. You're getting it.
Pam Bondi,
Epstein.
Epstein. Oh shit.
No, hold on. Epstein Dangle Island.
Oh, hey, no, I don't like the order. I don't like the order. No,
Something's gonna pick that up. That's not gonna go well.
no.
AI, take care of that one.
Yeah, no, one of the 1,000 FBI agents is going to get us taken off the internet permanently.
Okay. Just one thing on something you said. Which February had less games? 2025 February for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
Did they play less games in this past February of 2025 or their upcoming February of 2026?
I think upcoming is less.
Okay, so in February of 2025, they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
a lot of
actually
games.
quite a bit. That's more than I remember. I thought it was like 5 or something or 3.
Four Nation Face-Off was like a flash in
It was
the
a,
pan.
it was
man.
a 10 it was 10 days though.
Blink
Yeah.
and you'll miss it.
This one was like the Olympics are like 20, aren't they?
In February of
17.
2026, they'll play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
There you
That's
go.
a week's less games.
8-5. Steve Dangle, well done.
Wow. The Winnipeg Jets, who are, besides losing Nick Ehlers, which really sucks, are having a pretty good offseason here. Gabe Vilardi re-signs, 25 years old, 6 years, $7.5 million per year. And, according to, the chart guys like Dom Lucian, great value on the deal as well. And, 61 points in 71 games. He's on their top power play unit. He's on their top line with Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele. This seems like another one of those, damn it, the Jets did it again deals where, remember, they got Scheifele at 7.5 and then got Connor Halak at 7.5. Both
Or
look
was it
pretty
8.5?
good.
Was it 7.5 or 8?
I thought it was 7.5, but I can check it again. Doesn't matter.
Both of them were less than we thought.
Yeah, and both of them are worth more than that currently. 8.5. And 8.5 for Scheifele, 8.5 for Halak. But even so, it's pretty good value deals.
It is pretty good. They're going to score a bajillion goals, just like they did last year. They could afford to lose Ehlers. It's weird. I know the Leafs had a good team, but they weren't good enough when we tore them down. With the Jets, I look at them, President's Trophy winners, you almost blow it in the first round. You don't. I think that's important to mention. You don't. Heroically come back. You go to the second round. It's a decent fight. What do you do differently other than hope Halak is a little bit better when it matters most? Do you get a little bigger? Do you get a little defensively better? Like they're maybe hoping that's what happens with Taves, and maybe they feel, okay, we have the offense where we could sacrifice Ehlers, and Vilardi is part of that, right? He's a really good player. They made out like bandits in that Dubois trade. Did really well. There was a great example of giving up a very good player and getting way better depth and all of a sudden you're a better team. It does work.
Well, what about this? 28-year-old Kyle Connor has one more year left. At 7.142, he will be a free agent next July 1st.
Oh, so he's eligible right now.
Yes, he is.
If I'm him, I'm not going to be the canary in the mine. I'm scoring a bajillion goals this year, and just going to say, money, please, hold up my hand. Because if he has a Kyle Connor year, the kind of year that we all know he can ask for, he's going to get like 9. Probably.
I think that's it?
Probably more.
Because this is a guy who scores, look at the last 4 years, 47, 31, 47, 31, 34, 41.
Yeah, look what Besser got. Look what Ehlers got. I said 9 because my mind is still in last year mode. He's going to get double digits. He is. I'm one of the best goal scorers in the league, and I'm a UFA. And price of the brick went up. So, sorry. I'm getting at least 10.
Could be an interesting free agent market next year. If Kaprizov is available, if McDavid's available, a lot of ifs.
And Connor, holy shit.
That's pretty
Holy
crazy top
shit.
3 right there. I don't even know if that is the full top 3.
Probably not.
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't Eichel up?
Eichel is up as well. Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be a crazy one. I wonder how many of those 8-year deals we see. Like, because this is last year, you can do it. So how many guys go, you know what, I will go the 8th year because I can guarantee way more money.
Well, it's one way to get Connor's number down. Oh, baby. That's a shitload, man.
It is. It's crazy.
Jesse, do you have the Dubois trade up?
On the Gabe Vilardi deal, what a great piece of business for the Winnipeg Jets in getting him locked up for a guy who's 25. And we'll get there, Steve.
I'm sorry.
We'll get there.
Sorry.
We'll get there, Steve.
Sorry.
He's 25. He's going to score a ton of goals. And it looks like he's only getting better. And like it feels like the Winnipeg Jets kind of just operate in their corner of the world where they just lock up the guys they know they can. Nobody's really hyped on them, but they're just kind of doing their business in secret. And then they come out in a season, they have the Vezina Trophy, Hart Trophy winner, and they have a good year. And they consistently have these good years. And they can just operate like this because nobody's kind of paying attention to what the Jets are doing. It's a nature of their market in the size of it, but they seem to just do their good deals consistently in secret.
They do a lot with a little.
Yeah, and it's so like this feels like another one of those where they're locking up a guy who's underrated around the league who's only going to get better.
And they are the look at the direction of these two teams.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Nashville Predators
What are you doing?
had a terrible season last year.
Yeah.
They got rid of all their Italians. Winnipeg Jets are the most aggressively Italian team in the NHL.
What do we have here?
Vilardi, Perfetti, Iafallo.
Yeah.
Come on. Nemesnikov.
Very, yeah.
No. Dude, they have
Connor.
Kyle Connor, Reno. They are the most aggressively Italian team in the league.
And the best part about this whole thing is the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade, because if you ever want a reason for somebody to not have their job, you look at the 2 trades that Rob Blake made between June 27th, 2023 and June 19th, 2024. He acquired PLD and he sent to the Jets Alex Iafallo, Gabe Vilardi, Rasmus Kupari, and a 2nd-round pick. Then 1 year later, almost to the day, from June 27th to June 19th, a year later, he trades Dubois to the Caps in exchange for Darcy Kemper. So
were those his 2 most recent trades were both Dubois trades?
No, there's
No. But like, I mean, he made the Dubois trade, and then his next trade was the Dubois trade.
Yes, those are the 2 trades he made in that calendar year. From June 27th to June 19th, the next following year, he made 2 Dubois trades. He acquired him for all of these assets who are like 3 good players and a 2nd-round pick, and then he moved him for Darcy Kemper. Rob Blake was not very good at this.
Holy crap. And I'd be curious, was the 2024 second they got for Dursey the 2024 second they gave up in this trade?
I'm not sure. I could check on Puckpedia.
Wow. That is not very good. And for any Jets fan, you probably know this if you're a Jets fan, but
Yeah.
the 2nd-round pick you did end up using, and that was on Alphonse Frisch from Sweden.
I don't know that player.
Well, he's gonna be a Norris winner.
If you want to add to the Rob Blake mess, he also acquired Tanner Jeannot last year for a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick from the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Jeez, his stock
helping
is
Julian
so
Breesball.
high.
Tanner Jeannot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, look what he just signed for. Look what he's been traded for twice now. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's a guy that ends up being like, because Josh Anderson was sort of that guy too for a bit. It was like, there's so many tantalizing things about this player, but it never fully came together in Montreal unless he was playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then it always, that's when you saw Josh Anderson at his best.
And he had a goal total in the 20s.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, maybe he does this all the time. No.
He doesn't.
No, he
And,
doesn't.
like, is it a Matt Bolesky, Josh Anderson type deal for Jeannot, or is it?
Anderson's still like a useful player, though. He makes too much money.
Yeah,
like,
but he's useful for sure.
Jeannot, I think he's useful too, but boy, that contract's something else.
Don't forget, Rob Blake is also the general manager who moved Brock Faber to the Minnesota Wild in exchange. Who did he trade?
Fiala?
Fiala. It would have been the Fiala deal. Plus paid them another 1st-round pick. It was Faber plus a 1st for Fiala. I would much rather have Brock Faber right now, even though Fiala has
Fiala's
had a
been
good,
amazing.
Fiala's
good
been very
tenure
good.
in LA. Like, no doubt about
There's
that.
one of my fantasy darlings last year.
Oh yeah, he's been good. But like, if I look at that PLD trade and I say, there's a chance they beat Edmonton one of these years with those 3 guys on the roster,
Fiala. Oh man,
They just done nothing.
right?
shit.
Steve, what are you looking at?
So sorry, it was Fiala to the Kings for Faber and a 2022 first, which turned into Liam Ogren, which
Who's not a bad player?
no, he's friggin' not.
So where do you guys, if the Kings keep Iafallo, Vilardi, Kupari, and a 2nd on June 27, 2023, do they beat the Edmonton Oilers in 2024?
That's fascinating. Well, you still got to solve your problem in net,
Yeah.
which you got
Yes.
Kemper, and to his credit, was incredible.
Well, they didn't get Kemper for that run
No,
because
they
they didn't move PLD until after the next season.
Wait, sorry.
You're talking
Repeat
about
the
2 years
question?
ago.
So in the summer of 23, they acquire PLD for Iafallo, Vilardi, and Kupari. The 24 playoffs, do they beat Edmonton if they keep those 3 players?
And then I want to say they had Cam Talbot, who also was an all-star. Like I was,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, no, I still can't see them beating Edmonton without a goalie. But they went out, they got a goalie who did very well.
Right.
And
If you have 3 of these roster players over PLD, is it closer with Edmonton?
I like their ability to defend a lot better. Like Iafallo and Vilardi are valuable pieces when it comes to that. Like that was insane value for PLD given what he had given recently.
what
That's
gets shown.
insane in
Yeah.
retrospect.
And like now we know Velarde's a really good goal scorer. Like almost 30 goals.
Yeah,
yes, damn,
that's nuts, man.
I don't know.
damn.
Good for general manager Kevin Cheveldayoff. By the way, I did check with somebody. The coaching staff for Team Canada is the exact same as it was for Four Nations. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But yes, Paul Maurice was passed over. They could have made a change, but kind of hard to change it after Four Nations.
I understand.
And the reason that John Cooper is the coach is because he was supposed to be in 2022 coming off of back-to-back cups. So this exact same reason you mentioned.
Hockey Canada has always been, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But when it is broke, panic blindly. So we'll see how this
Hire
goes.
the Hunters. Panic and hire the Hunters. Porter Martone, now a Flyers pick, has committed to Michigan State. We're going to see lots of this stuff as we go. But remember, he played for the Brampton Steelheads last year, 37 goals, 61 assists in 57 games. So he'll be making money.
He will.
And he'll get to go play in the NCAA. And then he'll probably join the Flyers the year after, which is pretty cool, I think.
It is. But here, sorry, I'm trying to bring up the Michigan team right now because Elite Prospects is very good and they say what the team is going to be ahead of time. I'm fascinated by, like, to me, their one of the biggest experiments, Michigan State, because I'm looking at all the guys they're getting, and people are going, "Wow, they're friggin' stacked." And I'm looking at
Who are they? Who are the guys they have?
So they have an insane amount of draft picks. Porter Martone and Shane Vinsagi from the Flyers. They have Maxim Sturback and Patrick Geary from the Sabres. They got Caden Lindstrom, who was a top 5 pick of the Blue Jackets. Eric Nilsson for the Ducks. Anthony Romani for the Canucks. Colin Ralph for the Blues. Matthew Leahy for the Leafs. Riker Lee for the Preds. Austin Baker for the Red Wings. And I'm sure some of the... Oh, and both their goalies have been drafted too. Trey Augustine is with the Red Wings, and Melvin Strahl for the Blue Jackets. They're the experiment for me where I go, there's one puck. You know what I mean? There's one puck and there's fewer games. And listen, there's a lot of things to love. I don't think the players will regret their decision. Their paychecks are going to arrive. They're going to get to go to school. But there are going to be some players where going to university is not going to help their overall hockey career. And
you're not thinking Porter Martone in this instance, though.
No, I'm not thinking Porter Martone.
I do want to say that because there'll be some people.
Yeah, sorry, I should throw that out there. Like, if you're losing your spot to Porter Martone, and what's going to be fascinating to me is like, isn't switching schools very difficult?
I don't know anything about the
in
NCAA.
NCAA?
Jesse,
No, it's actually been made very easy.
Oh, they made it. Okay, they changed it because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Transfer
surprised.
portal.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if a few of those players entered the portal.
Are there?
I think it's different. I think in hockey it's such a team game that like there's enough there for everybody to get their chance at the puck. And like it's if you at that age, is it not better for you to be amongst peers who are going to challenge you and make you better, as opposed to playing on a team where you're kind of the star and you got to drag everybody around you?
That's the question. Like, is it better to play with those peers or against them? It might be better for you to play against them.
I think it'd be better to have high quality teammates. To be fair, like
you're going to put up a shitload of points.
Yeah, and I think like having those guys around you can only push you to be better. If your competition is higher at that level, are you not like chasing more for that season? Be like, I want more minutes. I want to compete against these guys because they're my teammates, and we're going out there and we're winning.
But a few guys are going to get like left by the wayside. Like there's going to be NHL draft picks who aren't even on the second power play in Michigan next year. And then they're going to turn pro. And I just like teams will wink, wink, nudge, nudge at like an OHL team and be like, can you trade our guy? Because we need him to get more ice. That was what I heard with, was it Jesse Blacker? I think it was Jesse Blacker. I don't remember what team he was on, but then he ends up going to the Owen Sound Attack and plays a lot more, and they win an OHL championship. And you look at that as, hey, that's good development. Now I know he didn't end up, making it as an NHL regular, but the point still stands. If a team is worried that a guy is going to get lost in the shuffle and buried behind guys, they'll wink, wink, nudge, nudge to get their player to a program where he's going to get more ice time.
That's fair. If you're just looking from strictly development standpoint, you want those guys to play those minutes.
Yeah.
But like my response to anybody on a team who's like, I'm the 7th defenseman or whatever, I'm like, get better, be the 6th.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like,
especially at that age.
So if those you got the 2 power play units, you're running 4 forwards on both. So you're the 9th best offensive forward on this team. Like, get better.
I agree.
If you're trying to crack the NHL.
I agree, but if I'm one of those teams who drafted those guys, I'm going to be like, fuck. We wasted this pick.
maybe there's that conversation with the team totally to get to a better position where you can move up in the lineup. That's fair.
When they enter the transfer portal, just so I know, do they get does the seeding school get compensation for player that they lost, or does it just mean the person can just transfer?
You see how this gets complicated very fast.
Yeah.
Right? Now who's on the hook for the money? Is it the same, like, are they made whole
I'm sure they're made whole.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
This is all very new.
You think
territory.
NCAA schools are not going to make themselves whole? I think they are.
Listen, this is no. I wasn't talking about the school.
Oh, the player?
The
player would be for sure.
Well,
and so that's interesting. It's I wonder if some people they're like, I'm going to join a school, and then midway through they're like, you know what, I'm going back to the OHL. Could you have some of that too?
I think 100%. Or what if your program is ass? Or what if your plan was to go to university for 1 year anyway? And
then who cares?
Yeah, and at the end of the year, you decide, you know what, I'm going to join a OHL team for a playoff run. But again, there's money involved, and you're going to go from so much money to aggressively no money.
Yeah.
This is a real, I think people aren't looking at this as a complicated enough mechanism. I think they're just looking at it as university money, good, OHL, WHL, QMJHL money, bad. This isn't going to benefit everyone. It's going to benefit a lot of guys, and these kids deserve to get paid. Full stop. But it's not going to benefit everyone's career.
Henry, you sound like you work for the CHL.
You do, yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, it's almost like you do highlights for the CHL.
It sounds like you're trying to make big dubs a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing. How
Oh,
dare you?
yeah.
That is the...
No, Gavin McKenna should stay.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
Martone, turn down that money. I want to make little dangits about you.
I do not make dangits.
Oh, yeah.
Also, players in Major Junior don't make mistakes on the ice.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
You were
totally.
going to have an all Gavin McKenna highlights pack this year. You have to settle for Miroslav Halak.
Who's Gavin McKenna? I only know about the man who built Big Dubs, Borja Vallis.
There you go.
Yeah, I want more highlights for wow. Nobody should go to the NCAA. They should send Connor McDavid back to junior. I'm Steve. That's what you're saying. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, here's a question. If Connor McDavid went back to junior, they lost their minds, and for some reason they let him play a season in junior, and they paid him $50 million to do it. How many points do you think he puts up at the Erie Otters?
In a full season?
In a full season.
How much did he put up in his actual year?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Here, let me look that up. Because that is something that I want to see. Jesse is looking it up right now. Let's see who's faster. I think it's me.
No, it's on the screen.
His last season, holy shit.
There you go.
47 games played, 44 goals, 76 assists, 120 points.
So if he plays the 63 that he played in 12-13, and so 63 games, you got to imagine it's 4 points a game. I'd say minimum.
4 points a game. So what's 68 times 4?
63 times 4, 252 points.
So over under at 250?
Maybe 5 points a game. That's a little iffy. I'd say 300-ish points, 280, somewhere in there.
He'd be okay.
Yeah.
His
That'd be my guess.
His stats are nuts, eh? Just
They're dumb.
2 seasons without 100 points. And I just, the 34 assists 2 years ago in the playoffs now.
The
Just
funniest ones are
unbelievable.
Mario Lemieux.
Oh. Yeah, when he played a full season, he scored 120 points. That's what it was. Or more. Mario
Oh,
Lemieux.
in the queue?
No, not in the queue. I mean, I just mean in the NHL. Not in the queue.
No. I meant
Mario in
the
the queue would be like 300 points.
Well, I mean,
Do we-
it is July after all. Mario Lemieux, in his final season in the queue, in 70 games, the Laval Voisins won, believe it or not. In 70 games, how many goals?
70.
Adam says 70.
70 games. Let's go 80.
133.
Wow. How many assists?
Guess.
150.
Okay.
200.
Adam's off by 1. It's 149.
Wow.
Which brings his point total in 70 games to 282.
Holy shit.
I might have been under for McDavid.
In the playoffs, Lemieux in 14 games. How many goals? 14 games.
Well, I'm going to say 20.
Okay.
14 games. Let's go 30.
Jesse was one off. 29.
Wow.
52 points. Stupid.
I want to say that I don't know if you guys have heard that old Dave Poulin story where he was
Yes.
the captain of the Flyers and in the middle of the 80s, and they were like scouting Lemieux, and they sent a scout, and they're like, well, what do you think? And he's like, well, he doesn't play much defense. They're like, how many goals did he get? And he's like, 6.
6
Also,
goals.
who's expecting a lot of defense from the QMJHL in the 80s?
Right.
Like, you don't get defense there now.
Or ever.
Ever. It's junior hockey. Yaroslav Halak, former noted Alan Walsh client, is retiring, gentlemen. 295 wins. He desperately wanted 300, held out all last year in order to get an NHL deal, and tried it with Boston, one of his former teams. Didn't quite make it. Quite the career. What will you remember, Steve, about Yaroslav Halak?
Remember being at a TFC game for some reason during Game 7 of Caps Habs and being like, yeah, but they're not going to win. And they friggin' won. And like by the end of the game, that was all anyone was talking about because we were all so fucking cold. It was the first game of the season.
Sure.
Yeah,
I bet they lost too.
They probably did. That TFC
terrible.
game, or it was a scoreless draw.
Yeah.
That ridiculous run.
Halak Spring.
Halak Spring. I want to say they made it to the Eastern Conference Final against Michael Layton's Philadelphia Flyers. That was one of the weirdest playoff runs. It was the 7th and 8th seed of the East meeting in the conference final. It made no sense whatsoever, but I mean, he was unbelievable. There was legitimate talk, at least from fans and pundits, about should the Habs just trade Carey Price.
I remember that.
They got this
that was the
kid.
thing. We did that on the podcast. It was Halak versus Price. Like, we had that conversation.
Jeez.
I don't even remember.
That's a long time ago. That's crazy, by the way, that they had that. His numbers were not that bad even towards the end of his career.
Did they make the right choice? Let's talk about it.
I would say Halak played longer.
Wow.
That's true.
Damn.
More longevity in Halak.
Who had more wins?
That's a good question. I don't know how many.
I'm not sure it's Price.
Carey Price.
It's probably priced by like
Let's find
700.
out. He had Carey Price career wins 361.
No, that's much more than Halak.
That's all. Halak had 295. He really, like he said, he wanted that 300. If you guys had a Mike Modano like number, is how he had 1,499 games famously. Babcock wouldn't dress him for the 1,500 because Mike Babcock's an asshole. Halak, just ran out of time, I think.
Yeah.
If you guys were in the NHL, if this is your career, are you annoyed at a 295? I feel like you'd be annoyed at a 1,499. But are you annoyed? Is 295 far enough away from the goal that you still feel like, all right?
5 is probably it.
5's it.
Yeah, 5's probably it.
There's a number that makes you like here, Jesse, can you look this up? How many goalies have ever won 300 games?
Okay.
That's what I would like to know because there are certain numbers that are true milestones. And with goalies, it's a little
300's a good
harder
one
to judge
for a goalie, I think.
I'm willing to bet it's 50 or less.
It is 42.
Way!
Wow.
Mike Smith and Braden Holtby's going to get it. Mike Smith finished at
he's not?
299.
No, Holtby's done.
Oh, Holtby's done. Yeah, Holtby won't get it.
So he's even worse.
299. Hextall was 296. Halak was 295. 42 guys all time have 300 plus wins.
Wow. That's pretty good company. So Montreal didn't know it at the time, but they had 2 of the top 5 winningest regular season goalies of all time on their roster. Just top 50, excuse me.
Top 50.
That's pretty amazing. Think about how hard
that's
that is to
nothing to them.
Yeah, because half the list is Montreal Canadiens. But think about that in the context of, like, Jaro Halak, I'm looking at his career. It's kind of crazy. Like, 2010, 2011, he had 38 wins.
In probably 39 games.
In 70 games.
Yeah.
30.
Like, he was...
There was a season he had 44, 14-15 with the Canadiens. That's what Jesse's talking about. Like, because I think that was Price's first real injury, wasn't it? Like, when he was, like, really...
Oh, boy.
I can't even remember now.
That's digging deep.
He had a 37-win campaign in 16-17.
Dude, he's really good.
And 35 in 18-19. Yeah.
He had an incredible heyday.
Oh, I'm an idiot. That's Carey Price.
You dumbass!
Oh, my God.
When you said 70 games, I went, wait.
Hang on, let me bring up Halak.
Yeah, that's not correct.
That's not right.
Yeah.
Man, he's like almost as good as Price.
He did have a 27-26. He did have a 38-win season with the Islanders.
What? I remember him on the Islanders.
In 14-15. And they made the playoffs that year. 38 wins, 17 losses, and 4 overtime losses. That's pretty good.
Hot damn.
Yeah. Sorry about the mix-up there.
What were his playoff numbers for 2010?
For 2010.
Or does it not have it? Hockey DB is a little weird.
Hockey DB is weird for that. I'm going to pull it up on NHL. It's an interesting career. 18 games in 2010 in the playoffs. 9 wins, 9 losses, but a .923 save percentage and a .255 GAA. And again, you got to look at that team. That team should not have been there.
No.
The teams they beat are crazy. That was what
the
was so
Caps. Cool. The damn Caps.
That was was that the first year the Caps should have won that they missed, or should they have
first
won
of several? Yeah.
I'm because they're a team they're a team that should have won probably 3 or 4 times.
Well, did they win the President's Trophy? I know they won the East. But I don't know.
Back then, I have no idea.
Or were they 7 or 8? No, the Flyers were 7.
Mm-hmm.
Man. They, the Caps, there's a reason why Ovi reacted the way he did when he won in 2018. We all thought it was over.
Yeah. Also of note, before we get to the press conference this week, we are going to get the verdict supposedly from the Hockey Canada case on the 24th, which is Thursday.
Yep.
I'm not sure how that aligns with the recording of this show, so we'll either talk about it as it happens or we'll talk about it the following week, but I'm not totally sure when that is supposed to happen. Sometimes in these situations, things can change too, so I don't specifically know, but everything has said July 24th.
I'm tempted to say next week regardless.
Well, certainly.
Just to make sure we have everything.
Yeah, but we may have the verdicts as of Thursday.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fascinating one to watch. Are you guys ready to do the press conference?
Yes.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
I was trying to find some of the Reddit conversations around when the Price Halak conversation started popping back up. And I know back in 2020 during the pandemic, I assume when there was like no hockey and stuff, there's some good threads on like who would you have taken at the time, you know? It's like, should they have made the decision to go with Halak? And Carey Price obviously had his runs and everything, but it was a serious debate at that time, and then it came back when you look in retrospect and you're like, ooh, who should they have gone with Halak? Could they have gone with Halak? Obviously, you want Carey Price now, but at the time, like it was a serious conversation.
All you have is what's in front of you,
right?
And what was in front of us at the time was, well, this guy's better.
Yeah.
Now Price was still. When was he drafted? 2007. Or no, he won the Calder Cup in 2007.
Was drafted in 2005.
So for him to even be a regular in the NHL at that age, he was still a freak of nature. Mm-hmm. And we just didn't really realize it yet because there was another relatively young goalie ahead of him who was even better at the time.
Yeah. So that whole thing would have happened through the 2006 through 2010 season when Halak was in Montreal. And then, yeah, they made their decision.
That would have been their we can get rid of Rask because we have Pogge. Mm-hmm. Like, the difference is Halak is way superior to Pogge, but Price you could sincerely argue is superior to Rask.
I remember us vaguely talking about like when it must have come back up, like when, because it would have been at the time, like it would have been active, it would have been like in retrospect. You know, would have been
probably
like
retrospect.
Well, it had to be. Like,
Like
we weren't.
It was probably definitely
was, Jesse.
No, it definitely was because the podcast didn't exist. But like we've had that conversation at some point before. But yeah, it's such an interesting career. And the one thing I want to bring up there is I don't know if we can say the team, but Alan once told us a story. I don't know if it was on the podcast or after the podcast about how one of the teams that Halak consistently won against acquired him because he had always beat them all the time. Do you remember that, Adam?
I remember the story vaguely, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole thing. He talked about how one of the general managers who Halak played. He played for like 6 teams or whatever.
Yeah.
So he would always go into that barn and he'd always win time and time again. And then he ended up signing with that team because that GM was like, I don't want you beating us again this year. So that's why he ended up signing one of the contracts with those GMs.
I know who it was.
Leafs should have
Yeah.
traded for Josh Anderson.
I'll keep it. Yeah. Oh my God. And
But
Marchand.
what a career.
Yeah.
Like up until he's 40 now and he's just announcing his retirement. That's incredible.
He held on. But I would say about the, does it drive you nuts being at 295? That's what the league handed him, right? Like he wasn't screwed out of it. What I hate about Mike Modano, this one of the greatest players ever, right? Like one of the greatest American players ever, Hall of Fame career, is you're not gonna be able to help it. You're always gonna think about Mike Babcock whenever you look at any Mike Modano stat.
It was manufactured. It wasn't true. You are out of games. It was, I'm going to do this to you. It was awful.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah. All right. This question is to get Adam going.
Let's go.
This is from Danny. Danny says, any thoughts on the Leafs TV broadcast ranking 30 out of 32 in an Athletic poll? So the Athletic ranked all of the NHL broadcasts. I'll pull up the list, actually, if you want to. I'll shout out the top 5 and the bottom 5.
I would love that,
Adam,
actually.
The Leafs broadcast is 30 out of 32. Please be angry.
I'm not angry. I think if it had been in the top 5, I would have been angry.
I should say, back up your reasons why you believe this is a fair spot.
Well, I think because everybody knows it. The reality is that first off, the Leafs are one of the only teams in the league that doesn't have a local broadcast crew. They do for radio, but no disrespect to AM radio, is not exactly the most listened to medium anymore. And our buddy Joe Bowen, who we love and adore, people have been dying for him to get back on television, and I'm hoping they do that at least once this year. The thing about it is that Leaf games are so profitable in Canada that they become national games. And so you get local regional TSN ones, but you also have local Sportsnet ones, and they just it could be like a Tuesday night versus Columbus, and no disrespect to the Blue Jackets, but it's like, well, we got to be fair to the Blue Jackets. This is a national game. And it's like, actually, you don't. You could just lean Leafs on this one because
no.
it's
We need
Canada.
at least 8 minutes of features on Cole Cylinder.
Exactly. Did you know that he used to date this pop star? Enough. I feel like I've said this a lot, and I can already see the comments. Oh, people always complain. The one thing I know that I'm not going to get a lot of pushback on is the fact that the Leafs broadcasts could be a hell of a lot better than they are, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in doing that. Hockey night in Canada, Wednesday night hockey, all these like national night games, I have to give Amazon credit, not just because we were on it. When they took us through, they really do want it to be the best broadcast you watch. And
it was impressive.
It was impressive. They've got stuff that the other guys don't have, like crazy, crazy stuff available to them. Sorry, go ahead.
I do love the TSN broadcast.
I do too.
I think that deserves some room.
100%. I just think that if you were to say that the TSN broadcast is a Leafs broadcast, it's not. That's their regional broadcast for doesn't matter who's on. And
to me, it's the equivalent of like a 40-goal sniper playing on your third line.
Yeah,
like they do a good job. They also have an easier role.
I feel like because Leaf fans are so hardcore, you'll show up no matter what. Like, we don't have a Gene Principe. We're not allowed to.
No.
If Leaf fans had a Gene Principe at Sportsnet, the rest of the country would lose their mind. Because they'd be like, see how much they lean Leafs? And then it's so funny because on Hockey Night in Canada, I will literally watch them fall over themselves to say nothing good about the Toronto Maple Leafs, even when they've had a good period.
A lot of people just hate this place.
And then
it's not about the Leafs.
And then they go to, and it's a national broadcast supposed to be even-handed, and it's like Edmonton, Calgary. And Gene Principe's kicking it off, and he's got like he's doing a crazy bit or whatever. And you're like, okay, so you can do that. You will do that. You'll just only do that in the West.
I
got it.
Here's the thing about that poll.
Can I read the Leaf summary? And
Give
then
it to
we
me.
go to
Sure.
your piece. So this is for Harmon Dial and James Myrtle did the piece in The Athletic on ranking the 32 broadcast teams. They wrote about the Leafs one. Sportsnet carried 14 Maple Leafs games regionally this season, with Cuthbert doing play-by-play and Craig Simpson doing color. TSN carried 26 games regionally, with Gordon Miller doing play-by-play and Mike Johnson doing color. The remainder of the games were broadcast nationally on Sportsnet and Amazon Prime. The unique and wide split between the local and national ratings show just how differently many Leafs fans view their broadcast compared to the wider perspective. Despite often getting the most experienced broadcast teams in the country, a huge percentage of Toronto fans lamented the fact that they don't have a home broadcast on television. Home is in quotes. They also noted a strong preference for the regional TSN broadcasts over games shown elsewhere. We're the only team in the NHL whose home broadcast is limited to radio only. I understand that the national broadcasts in Canada need to or want to appear impartial due to the national factor, but often the coverage seems slanted the other way. That is a quote from, I assume, a fan. Watching broadcasts on Amazon and TNT this year showed me how far Sportsnet lagged behind in production quality as well, especially in the audio department.
No kidding on the audio part.
To offer a criticism, or at least validate what they're saying, Sportsnet is scared to death of appearing pro-Leafs.
But they're not afraid to appear pro-Oilers or pro-Canucks or pro-Flames.
Now,
which is fine, by the way.
the reaction,
I don't have an issue with that.
The reaction behind the camera and behind the mic to what I just said is of two camps. Leaf fans who are falling out of their chairs going, you have to be kidding me, that they think they're pro-Leafs. And everyone else going, of course they're pro-Leafs, right? And I obviously lean towards, I work there, and they're like, go easy on the Leafs. Like, I know what I was told, right? So they are deathly afraid of appearing that way. The other thing I would say...
Go easy on the Leafs how? You have to...
Go easy on the Leafs. Sorry. Yeah, I should specify. Go easy on the Leafs, not... hey, be kind to the Leafs. Go easy on the Leafs. Like, don't go too heavy Leafs. Don't do too much Leafs. Sorry. Yes, Adam. Thank you for, I could have used my words a little better there. Don't go too heavy on the Leafs. Maybe don't use your Leafs background as much. Stuff like that. Like that. A lot of that is conscious decision and also.
And fair enough.
Some of it fair enough and some of it fuck off. But what I would say is, there is an arrogance there. And I think there's some hurt feelings that the public feels that way. And I'm here to tell you to get the fuck over it, because this is a customer's always right kind of business. And that's how they feel. You cannot go back to air in September, October with the same product under any circumstances, because your audience, your bread and butter, feels so betrayed and so talked at and talked down to and so disappointed in the product that they invest their time and energy and passion in, that you can't do the same thing again.
And watch them. They will. You're saying they can't. I'm saying they will. Why wouldn't they?
Then they deserve...
They've done it for the last 5 years.
They deserve every downfall.
Let me say this. I don't mind the way the games are called, actually. Like, during the game.
Like the actual play-by-play
and
action?
I think that they have all the personalities and talent available to make an electric broadcast. I'm not saying... I don't have a problem with a single person they've got on the air there. My issue is with how it's produced and coached and what the marching orders from on high are. I know that the talent exists at Sportsnet. You've got Kipper, you've got Friedge, you've got Bourne, you've got, I'm just talking about the Toronto broadcast specifically. On Hockey Night in Canada, you got Bieksa. You got real talent there. Real talent who can grab and take over and run with a segment.
I feel like TSN has more license to be loose.
They just have fun.
And they have fun. Craig Simpson, I noticed, was a lot more loose last year. I really like his play-by-play.
His color.
Sorry.
Chris,
yeah, my bad.
Cuthbert does play-by-play.
Yeah, I'm like half in vacation mode. I really like his
I've always liked Cuthbert's play calling. And I used to remember back in the day, by the way, Jim Houston would call Leafs games, and people would be like, man, he's so slandered the Leafs. Like, Jim Houston hates the Leafs. He's a Canucks guy.
There are people,
what are we talking
there are
about?
season ticket holders who were less pro Canucks
Yes.
than Jim Houston. Are you out of your mind?
And by the way, I never had an issue with that. I never cared. But I feel like if we're allowed to do it for the other markets, we should be allowed to do it for the bigger market.
Yes.
It's the big market.
Also, don't tell me I'm not hearing what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
And
don't tell me I'm not hearing what I'm hearing.
And you say, well, they can't come back with the same stuff. They're coming back with it. They're also coming back with an app that's 30% more expensive too.
It's unacceptable. Dun, dun, dun,
well, you'll have to accept it.
No, you don't. You don't have to at all.
You have to accept it. What could you possibly do?
Oh, there are going to be so many people next year who are going to be like, the game is on. What are you talking about, Adam? No, it's you. They feel this way for a reason. Mm-hmm. And you can... behind the scenes, I know there's a lot of people in positions of power who have been in a position of power for decades. And you're going to be like, well, what are the odds that I'm right and you're wrong? And I'm going to tell you pretty good. Because it's not 1995, it's not 2005, and it's not even 2015. You have a different audience than you did before. You have people who weren't alive. You have people who were in bed if they were alive, because their parents put them in bed because they had kindergarten the next morning. You have to adapt with the times, and they're not doing it.
Jesse, what are your thoughts? What do you think you would do?
One thing on the Sportsnet Plus thing, like piracy as a whole on the internet is making a comeback because of all of these corporations hammering people with the price increases on streaming.
And the ads.
They're seeing a giant uptick recently in torrent sites like Pirate Bay, and we're going back to the early 2010s era of piracy where people are just taking things now because it's so difficult to get what you want in terms of like, hey, I pay this a month and what I want to see is there and that's it. It's becoming like, no, you need 5 different streamers. And then even if you have that, it might still not be available to you because it's blacked out or that movie isn't on that streaming service and you need to buy it anyways or whatever it is. And there's just so many hurdles now to consume the content. And we're in a little bit of an era where things were easy. It was like, oh, I just got Netflix. Everything's kind of on Netflix and I'm happy with that. Mm-hmm. Or I have this app and all the sports are on there and it's easy. And now we're getting to a situation where everybody's got their damn app and they're so expensive that people are like, it's so much better just to steal and deal with the headache of streaming than give you $800 or whatever it is.
Wait, let me ask you this. Why is it possible to get a higher quality stream on a pirate site than it is on Sportsnet Plus?
Or on any of forget piracy, like on any of the competing ones.
Well, I just don't understand. Like Sportsnet Plus for me, it's like, yeah, you need all the games. You want to be able to watch them when you want to. I can't decide the commentary. So if I'm watching like a Blues and Stars game, I can't decide which commentary I want. It's whatever one you're going to get.
You used to be able to switch back and forth.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like it's crazy.
And then
why do I have less options now?
And then why can't I get the game in better than 720? Like I don't understand that. I don't get why you can't bump it up to 1080. What do you mean you can't do 4K? You're just not trying. I know you can because it's available.
I'm going to ask a really ignorant question, and I went to school for this, and I should know the answer, and maybe Jesse actually knows, but my internet and my cable and everything, it all comes through the same friggin' box and the same cords and everything, and if the box goes down, I don't get anything. I don't get internet. I don't get TV. Why isn't it the same quality if it's coming through the same shit?
Well, Jesse, the app would be separate because you'd have a different hosting, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I've never had a Sportsnet Plus subscription. I have cable to be fully transparent because I think it's the best way to consume sports and it's my job to consume sports. So I do it through a cable box. And for a long time I had Roger and I switched over to Bell and like they both have their mobile apps, which allows you to access your cable box. And a small note about this, David Alter talks about this quite consistently. We talked about it last year. If you are a Toronto Maple Leafs fan and you catch games like afterwards on demand, unless you have a cable box, there's no way to rewatch a game that was on TSN. So like
Yes.
I record games all the time and I watch them, I'll like fast through them if I need to see a highlight again like the next day or anything like that. But on Sportsnet Plus, like they don't have the TSN games, and TSN doesn't have an app equivalent where you can rewatch the games. So
They probably don't
unless
have the
you are-
rights.
Yeah, I think that's why they don't have them on demand on the TSN apps, because they're not allowed through the broadcast rights deal that Rogers did with the NHL. So like I record TSN games on my box, like because I want to rewatch them and have them on demand if I want to see them again. So like there's so many little things where it doesn't make sense for the average person to be investing money like in Sportsnet Plus or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many hurdles anyways.
We all get to write it off. Did either of you see Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the
Yeah.
MLB, talking about John Boy
On Pat McAfee.
and admitting
Another guy from the digital area.
and admitting that they got it wrong?
Yeah, he said basically that they had eschewed creators and tried to push back against them, when in reality, the creators were what was driving the sport. And then they ended up buying into John Boy.
I'll be totally honest, that ruined my day.
Did it actually?
I was so fucking mad because I'm just like, and we're stuck with this fucking league.
Now, a lot of MLB fans will be like, we're stuck with fucking Rob Manfred. He has put his foot in his mouth.
You don't have any clue. You have no idea.
He also said the regional sports thing is broken and that they've got to move away from that. I don't know what that looks like, other than all their games either being national or available in a streaming package or both.
Yeah.
But they said, we got to do away with regional blackouts. What the hell are we doing?
My dreams are your nightmares, MLB fans. You have no idea.
Adam,
I'm a hockey fan in Canada. I'm fucked. Oh my God.
All right,
Adam,
go ahead.
on your 720 thing, the Sportsnet Plus app is available in 1080p.
Oh.
It depends on what device you're on. I know if you're on like an Amazon Fire Stick, you can only get 720p. But if you're watching on your phone, like they do have 1080.
So I could cast it to my TV in 1080?
Yeah, you can probably do that. That'd probably be a better solution if you want to up the quality a little.
But-
And if you're watching on your laptop too, that's 1080. And on most TVs that are running, I think like if you're running like an Apple TV box, it's 1080. So there is 1080
I have
available.
a 4K Fire Stick and I still can't get it.
Right.
Like what? Why? Why?
My simple
Why would I pay for that?
My
Yeah,
simple demand is the maximum what my device is capable is what you show me every single fucking time.
Yeah.
I pay for it.
The Sportsnet Plus app on a 4K Fire Stick can only go up to 720p.
That's absurd.
That's a ridiculous thing to have in the year of 2025. That's crazy.
And that is why I'll just say it, I can no longer spend money on this app, even if I can write it off. There's got to be a different way. I might have to, the whole thing, I think they want you on cable. I think that's what they want.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Do you think having a massive fucking cable company has maybe hindered digital progress in this country? Yeah? Adam, is that what you think? Is that your guess? Is that your theory?
Thought on it, yeah.
Yeah? You know what? Maybe you're right. Oh, my God.
For anybody...
Like just, sorry. Like, just to put a bow on it. I couldn't imagine with like a brain controlling worm or AI those words that Rob Manfred said leaving Gary Bettman's mouth. I just can't. I can't, and we're fucked until God knows when. Yes, Jesse?
For anybody who needs like the proof of the Sportsnet's the way they run their
Look at
business,
this hog shit.
This is on their
Holy
website, on their information on Sportsnet Plus. Like you can just Google this, you can pull it up. They outline the device that you can run Sportsnet Plus on, and then the streaming quality you can get. Every Amazon Fire TV or Fire Stick runs at 720p. So if you have the Cube, the Stick Lite, the 4K one like Adam does, or the first, second, or third generations, or even the ones that are built into the TVs, like TV sitting in front of us is Insignia. And if we want to run Sportsnet Plus on it through the native app on the television, we can only run it up to 720p.
And so
My
And
like
they-
adrenaline is pumping.
and
I'm
they
so
have
mad.
not
Like,
upgraded past
and
that.
people will say, well, why don't you just get a different device? How about you provide a product that is the same?
For that amount of money.
I have to pay $325 a year now for a product that only works on certain devices. So then I would have to go, even if I have the device, it's the principle. And by the way, Fire Sticks are far superior, at least in my view, just in their simplicity, to a lot of other options. I know a lot of people love the Apple TV thing.
Most people, to be honest, don't use the sticks anymore because most of the apps are built into the TVs.
Oh, I don't have a TV that's new enough.
Okay.
TV's not that
But
new.
there are advantages to having Fire Stick.
Right. And I love having a Fire Stick because it's just friggin' easy, man. And I don't, like, you're telling me that it's that much more effort? Mm-hmm. You're really going to tell me that it's that? Because I know it's not. Because, like, you know, hey, you know, you heard your competitor, Crave? They offer movies in 4K. They're owned by Bell.
Yeah.
You laid off all my friends. How can't you afford to do this yet?
Yeah, one of the more egregious things too is same thing for the Chromecast devices. If you have a Google TV, you can't watch Sportsnet Plus in 1080p. Like the Google, like it doesn't. A Chromecast they haven't upgraded to. Amazon they haven't updated to. Just whatever. If you're on a fucking stick, they're like, no, fuck you, 720p.
And you know what's crazy about that? 1080p is not good enough.
Well,
everybody's like, well, at least you get 1080. No, it's not good enough. We've had 4K available to us for 10 years.
That's a little bit of a different conversation because 4K, the upgrade to 4K hasn't been as quick as people think. I know.
No, it hasn't.
Fox Sports for a long time, I think up until last season or the year before, was running an upscaled 4K for their NFL broadcasts. So you could have it in 4K, but it's truly upgraded 4K because the cameras they were using and what was coming out of it to their broadcast technology was 1080p and then upscaled in their truck to 4K.
Oh, okay.
So
I will take that.
People being mad about not being able to see it in 4K, that's still something we're all catching up to as a society in terms of television product.
You're so smart.
Which is not...
I'm glad.
Which is like it should have, like, we all should have been there by
Yes,
now.
we should.
Average TV should be in 4K because us as fucking YouTubers are shooting in 4K on the most basic device. Your phone's sitting here shooting 8K, 60 frames per second. Like every broadcast television should be in that, but it's not, and that does make me upset. But the fact that the end broadcaster doesn't have it, it's to them to blame, but also like society as a whole in terms of technology.
Yeah,
That's
you know what'd be crazy? You know what'd be crazy though, Jesse? I would take an upscale. I don't need it to be actually 4K. Do you think my eyes can see the difference? No, just simply get the upscale. Fool me. Just fool me into it. So here's the thing: when you offer a product at 30% more than you used to, the only thing that changed about Sportsnet is how much they're paying for the NHL rights. So they're getting ahead of this. And I told you when that rights deal signed, I'm like, it's going to be like $500 a year to watch hockey. And that's with one streamer. Do you think this is the end of Sportsnet Plus increasing their prices 30% year over year? No way. This is the beginning. And then you're going to have Amazon, which most people already have. Mm-hmm. And you're probably going to have, TSN's got access to the rights for another 19
We're just going to Benjamin Button our entertainment. Like, we're all going to go back to playing like handball.
There were
like hopscotch.
When Netflix
Foursquare
really took over, there were conversations at that time, and Spotify too was quite cheap, where people were like, "Oh, this is sort of the end of piracy. You just scale it out, make it super cheap, and people would rather pay for it." Mm-hmm. And what they realized were like, "Well, now piracy's gone away. We can charge and charge. Now Netflix is $21.99, and." Okay, that's a much different conversation. Of course, piracy's coming back. Get ready. This year is going to be 1720s Caribbean kind of piracy.
And people are pirating. So it is the people who are the problem.
Ah, yes. It is them who are the criminals.
So you know what we must crack down on?
The
piracy.
The people.
Just.
And you know, this is the thing. Anybody that goes on there and is like, hey, you know, we're here to make hockey more accessible. Tough message. Tough message to sell.
Yeah? I'm 185 pounds.
Yeah, there you go.
As long as we're just saying shit. We can say shit. I'm $185 and shredded. Mm-hmm. Fuck off.
For anybody who's interested in broadcast technology and that sort of world, this most recent Super Bowl that Fox had was an upscaled 1080p video that was upscaled to 4K for the Super Bowl. So I can't complain about like a hockey game not being in 4K.
I will still complain.
Perhaps you can't.
There's just so much old technology that still exists. Like they need to get this out to people across America, across the world, that they're using like this little thing behind where Maddie's sitting. It's called like SDI converter. It plugs into the cameras. They're using like 3G SDIs that are meant for 1080p, and they don't have the infrastructure to upgrade the bandwidth for 4K yet, and they haven't done it in every stadium and every camera in the world and across the NFL. So
I can't believe you and I went to the same program.
I know, it's crazy.
We have the same education.
At least I didn't graduate. Like, what's your excuse?
I'm a stupid guy.
There it is. I can talk about that all day.
Yeah. Well, I love hearing you talk about that. Anyway, you can fire the extra.
Anyways, yeah, we're
all
done.
I'm saying is I will still complain about it. Yes, I can. And I give you a pass a little bit, broadcast companies, because of COVID.
Yeah.
Slowed it down.
Sure.
But, like, we're 5 years post-COVID now, so, like, you can do it now.
1080p is no excuse.
If you're
Sportsnet, get your shit together.
And Tom Brady's making, like, $30 million a year. You can buy some 4K cameras, damn it.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.